Hello, GloomORG. Welcome back to our exit interview. And this is me, Leah, and I am with Connor, and we are also have a combined exit interview with both Blair and Lindsay. Hi to you both. How are you both doing today?
Good, thank you.
Great.
I'm glad. All right. So, yeah, how we're gonna do this because it is a combined interview. We actually do have questions for you both. It's just there's some that are pretty separate. So I just wanted to let you know in the meantime. But thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today. So I will start with Blair. So I will ask my question first. So I'm going to be honest, your vote out was very chaotic, and the vote did went from Vincent to you within 15 minutes before the votes were locked in to be read. And but you did mention, however, that you weren't surprised about being voted out. So did you pick up any cues before those votes were read, or did you just felt that you knew for sure you were going home?
Um, for me, it was kind of like this awkward part where, I mean, probably my closest ally and Lindsay wound up on the other tribe to start. And then, okay, I had Harry and Melissa from the other two tribes from the journey that, like, great, get to work with them. Nope, other tribe. And it was just very much this, like, macho feeling on the tribe. So it was like, what the heck is going on? And for, for me, I thought I was okay with like Pablo and Vincent, but in all honesty, even when we were like before we switched, I was like, I don't really trust them. So then when I switched and I'm stuck with those two, it was like, okay. And honestly, I just could not connect with anyone on that tribe. And I was just sitting there going, I don't even really care. Like I just had this odd feeling that, yeah, it was probably going to be me kind of thing.
Mm.
So yeah, that was the fun of that.
Of course. And again, yeah, literally like his background, it was going crazy. So trust me, I feel you there. So before your but like you already mentioned, you did find out that Lindsay was voted out of her tribe. Were you surprised by her vote at all? And if you actually were, who were you expecting to actually leave that tribe that night?
I don't know who I was expecting, but I didn't think it was going to be Lindsay. Like I figured, and I mean, kind of looking over the chats because you get the fun of that when you're not jury. It very much seemed like beforehand it was like, oh yeah, this big cohesive group and all this stuff. And I mean, for me, it was funny, like the way Lindsay and I connected. It was like day one, you're doing the standard crawling into everyone's DMs and barely ever using Discord ever before this and seeing that, oh, Lindsay and I have a shared discourse of a podcast that we both follow. And it was just like this instant connection with that. So, I mean, that was so beneficial. And then also both being LGBTQ plus and having all these different connections with us. So it was really nice having Lindsay in the game. And then when that was lost, it was like, no. And then I don't know, I wasn't necessarily I was pretty shocked when Lindsay went home. Who I was
Yeah.
expecting, I have no idea.
Yeah, that was that day alone was tough. So I don't blame you for that. So when you actually went to like the Advantage and you met Harry and Melissa there, you originally did want to risk your vote so you could possibly get an advantage, but then you end up changing your mind and decided to keep it. And part of the reason being because you knew that if like with Melissa saying that she wanted the advantage at the time since her original tribe was already down a person, not knowing that their tribe was going to lose again. So obviously now knowing that Harry did have IO clue and Melissa received an extra vote, which she hasn't used yet. Do you wish you risked your vote at that time, or you still would have protected now that obviously you knew that Melissa probably needed more?
So like definitely at the start, as soon as I went on that, I was like, I'm risking my vote. I don't really care. But then as we went on and were chatting, and was very much like, okay, wait, no, the three of us could actually work together, kind of thing. And it felt like the two of them were more lower in their tribe than I was. But I mean, in reality, looking through it, it's definitely Vincent and Pablo were controlling that whole tribe of having the two groups beside each other. But also then learning that the only other thing is an idol clue. Yeah, I don't really regret it, because
Right.
I would have just been given up after like 30 seconds, probably.
Understandable. So yeah, as we go along with, you already mentioned about Pablo, who is the only returning left in the game. You know, he was already in your original tribe. And you were basically with him the whole entire game, since you were in there. So based on like what you know now, do you think he actually has a great chance of winning the game and maybe possibly be a finalist again? Or do you think because of him being a returnee, like he might have a target? Like what do you think by that?
I feel like at this point, the thought of, oh, you're a returnee and now they're already at the jury stage now. I feel like it's kind of mute and you're just an extra player, because this you're returning playing Gloom doesn't necessarily mean this was everyone's first Survivor game necessarily. So different people have different experiences coming in. So I mean, being a returnee gives you a slight advantage and disadvantage, but I mean, if this is your seventh or eighth one of these you've played, then that's a lot higher of an advantage, I'd say.
Okay, yeah. And then going on to, because your virtual tribe was Hyperborea, and with both you and Lindsay being voted out the same night, it went from 5-3. So Dona, Pablo, and Vince are still the game left. So based on your previous answer about Pablo, do you see Vincent and Dona going to fire the game as well, based on what you did learn since leaving the game?
From what I've seen since learning the game, I feel like the one who probably out of everyone has the best potential is probably Donut. I mean, seem to be
Who
playing a
knew?
very
Sorry.
right. Very much we thought it was like a group of four of us, and then we're about to vote out Donut if we lose again. And next thing you know, I'm sitting there going, "Wow, Donut's playing a very I'm just there and available under the radar kind of game." But I could easily see these other people taking strategic moves to get each other out, and Donut just almost floating on by to the closer end and then making a big move or two and having a good shot.
Yeah. Um, and who are you rooting for to become GloomORG's sole survivor for this season?
Um, Out of everyone, I'd probably have to say Donut. I mean, they have fun, and probably the thing I miss most about being voted out, not being on his tribe, is not being able to just like DM Donut and be like, okay, what the heck did you cook today? Because the pictures of the food he would send me, oh my God, it's like such amazing thing. And it's like, it would just make me so freaking hungry. And I'd be like, screw it, I'm ordering skip because I'm too lazy to leave the couch.
I love that. And one more question. What was your favorite memory while playing this game? It could be game wise, it can even be like a personal connection you have, whatever it is.
I mean, definitely finding and being cast with Lindsay. I've definitely found hopefully a great friend for life virtually, and then who knows what happens. But I mean, I think probably the funniest part about it was like the first challenge and just running around everywhere trying to find stuff as a whole, and that whole realization after the Caracosa tribe won and us just going, we're out of stuff. And then somehow finding a third year to find the rest of the stuff quickly before the other tribe did. But
Right. Yes, it was a nail biter to say the least. But yes, thank you so much, Blair, for answering the questions. And Connor, I will hand you over so you could do Lindsay.
All right, thank you, Leah. Hi, Lindsay.
Hi. Sorry, I tried really hard to stay on mute.
Okay. All right. Okay, I have some questions for you. My
Okay.
first one is, who did you connect with right off the bat and why?
I mean, obviously Blair, because of our shared podcast channel. So we definitely instantly connected over that for sure.
And what
I
podcast was
didn't
that?
connect with Donut the way Blair did. I don't know. I didn't get food pictures as often as Blair did.
Okay, my next question is, what one thing do you wish you knew in the game that you do now?
Oh, wow. Okay, one thing.
It could be multiple things if you want.
I think game wise, I think I wish I knew to use my confessional more. Now that I'm on because this was my first game, so I think game wise, I do wish that for sure, or at least using screenshots in there so that the picture was a little bit clearer on what was going on. And I think like people wise, I wish I knew more about Harry and the game that they were running, which is not the case now, it doesn't seem, but at the Switch for sure.
Yeah, I definitely get that.
Yeah.
A lot of newer players don't really know how much to use their confessional, so that's like definitely not unique to you.
That's good to know.
All right. So the next question is, why do you think you got so paranoid during the last round you were in the game?
So, okay, this goes back to the confessionals because I really wasn't that paranoid until the nteenth hour. Like I was good on going with the numbers and whatever Melissa, Harry, and Addie wanted to do because they were the closest. And Donut and I were kind of we had just decided that we were going to do whatever they want to do. And Fisher was always kind of MIA. So it didn't really occur to me that Fisher and Harry were so close. And that Harry was protecting them. And then Harry threw out to me the idea that we should split the votes because there was an idol somewhere and it probably has it's Fisher that probably has it. And so then I started to get paranoid because Donut and I were on the bottom. So,
Right.
and I didn't want it to be me because if Harry was the one who was coming up with the idea to split, then it was going to be split between Donut and I. So I suggested to Harry to split between Donut and Addie, or because Addie and I were speaking the least, or Donut and Fisher. And as soon as I said that, Harry was like, Lindsay's throwing out everyone's name under the sun. And so that was, I guess, kind of my downfall.
Yeah, misreads can be pretty, like, they can really screw up your game.
Yeah.
All right, so who would you most want to see win the season?
Oh my God, you asked Blair this question, and I was like, what is Blair gonna say? Honestly, I kind of hope it's Taff. I didn't either Taff or I don't want it to be Donut, but do I? I guess maybe Donut, just because Donut's doing such a good job at being like a number right now. And everyone else is like playing so hard. It would actually be kind of nice to have Donut win when everyone is like pulling their hair out. That would actually be kind of poetic. So I'll go with Donut too.
Your first answer was, I'm curious as to why that is.
For of Taff.
Yeah.
Because Taff is in like 37 alliances. What like Taff is in almost all of them and is really good at communicating with everyone, connecting with everyone. And they also seem to be really good at smoothing everyone's like feelings over.
Yeah, I
while
definitely
also
see
not being aware, like not being available a lot. Some,
that.
Taff is playing the game I wish I was playing.
Yeah, he's playing pretty well.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did your perception of the game differ from what was actually happening?
I mean, I guess my perception of the game different than what was happening. I mean, I guess I came off as messy, right? Like, and I didn't think I
Right.
was messy, and I got blindsided. So clearly, my perception was, I thought. Here's the other thing: everyone was connecting with me. Not everyone, but specifically Harry and Melissa were connecting with me on these like really personal human levels. And so my perception of what was going on was clearly different than what was actually happening. They were working together and I had no idea. I didn't know that Harry was as close with Melissa and Addie as they were. Melissa and I had like a 2-hour conversation earlier that day. Sorry, that squeaking is my dog. About like her mom's sobriety, because I'm also in recovery and I'm a therapist that works in addiction. So we had a very long conversation about her mom's recovery and like all these really personal things, how it affected her life. And then Harry came to me first when I first got switched over to Carcosa and wanted, really pushed the queer, NB, I want these kind of players to go far, let's work together kind of thing. So to me, when you use like those personal aspects and then screw that person over, like, I don't know, it's just different than playing a game. So and it really messed with my perception of what was going on, which I guess is the point. But so that
Yeah,
was
when people use like personal connections, it gets like really tricky to like gauge how like strategically aligned you guys are.
right.
And
Especially the recovery thing. That really messed with me. So I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely
For-
see that.
for
Okay,
me,
my
watching
last.
that. Sorry, just
I'm
jumping
sorry.
in. That for me, watching that last vote before we got outed, I was like, yes, Melissa, Harry, and Lindsay are together. They stay together. It's gonna be like make it there, and then like the four of us will steamroll, and then it was like
Yeah.
jokes.
Yeah. Melissa's, yeah, that was hurtful. That's why I feel like I'm still so like bitter, I guess, which I'll get over it. But when someone like throws the recovery thing in my face, I'm like, I don't know. It's hurtful.
Yeah, I definitely see that. Okay, my last question is: would you play an org again?
Yes. With Blair, hopefully, we'll do better. And hopefully I'll give myself some time to rest in between. This was very stressful and I got very little sleep while I played. But it was super fun. And my favorite challenge by far was definitely that first one, like Blair said, where we were all running around looking for stuff. That was great. Because we all did it together. I think that's why. And stop, I am speaking. And they are a really good time. And I can't imagine the work that goes into to putting these together. So good on you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you indeed. And again, I could not thank both you, Lindsay and Blair enough for taking time today to talk about your games with us.
Thanks,
Yeah, it was
guys.
so much fun.
Thank you.